Hey everyone, this is Chris Crazy House, and I want to talk a little bit about the new series called Lovecraft Country. Now, for those who don't know, it's going to be a new horror slash drama series on HBO, and it's based off of a book by Matt Ruff, which I have never read. But the basic plot is about a young man named Atticus Black, and he returns back down south to see his family, but also to enlist his family in the help to find his father who's gone missing. But as they travel through the Jim Crow South, because I think the story takes place back in the 1950s or 40s. I'm not, well, yeah, 1950s, so late 1940s, early 1950s. They're going through Jim Crow South and they have to kind of survive that, but also survive these Lovecraftian type monsters as well. So I'm actually looking forward to this. It's interesting to see this type of content making its way to different networks and different TV, and I'm kind of glad that it's getting a chance to appear to a young black audience out there. The showrunner is Misha Green, and for those who don't know, she's worked on her main show was Underground, which actually was a decent show. By the way, I wasn't expecting a lot from it when I first saw it, but it was actually a decently written show, and it's to the point where I was actually surprised it got on TV at all. Some of the things they had on there, but it was a very well written show. She's also worked on Sons of Anarchy, which was another good show. Well, one of those shows that started out well and kind of fell off towards the end, in my opinion. But those are the shows she's worked on before, and so I'm eager to see what she comes up with in this vein, doing a show that is partial drama, partial horror, and delving more into the psychological type horror that you would see in a H.P. Lovecraft novel. So we'll see how this turns out. I know that it has some big producers behind it. J.J. Abrams and also Jordan Peele are working behind the scenes as executive producers, but I know Misha Green is the showrunner, which I'm glad of. I'm glad she has the control here. So we shall see how it turns out. But I think this is good to see that we have a lot of new black directors and black creators doing things that kind of expand outward as far as different genres. It's not just making the same old whatever we've been pigeonholed into. I'll say like black movies, I guess you could say. It's not black exploitation. It's not just a crime movie or a hood movie or a hood show. And some of those, when they're done well, there's nothing wrong with them. Like The Wire was one of the best written shows ever. But it's nice to see that we can expand outside of things like that. And we have to be honest and thank Jordan Peele, who I never thought I would ever say this, but thanks to Jordan Peele for expanding our minds in that regard on a wide basis, I should say, because there are writers out there, both mainstream and independent, who have been doing content like this forever. But thank you to Jordan Peele for expanding outward as far as and bringing it to the mainstream as far as blacks in horror and doing horror from our perspective, where it's not just we're not just the foil or the token or the sacrifice for a horror film. We're actually the leads in the film, and it's about us and about our fears and things that we go through. I do appreciate that because that opens up a whole new world for us to make things. When you do horror, to open up things and make things from our perspective, because out of all the genres out there, I think black people get done the worst as far as horror goes. I guess like black people and women get done the worst when it comes to horror, because like I said, we're always the victim somehow, or we're always trying to save white people, and then we get killed, or we're the sacrifice, or we just die horribly. So it's almost like killing an animal in a film. Like we're the sacrifice there to make everyone feel bad or whatever, or feel Or we make the monster in the film seem more dangerous when he can kill us because, any other time in reality, black people are seen as the monster. But if the monster can kill us, that's a real badass monster. Then if he can kill the black guy in the group, right? So that's what I mean. Is like we don't, we usually don't fare very well when it comes to horror, and unless we, like I said, unless we make it ourselves. And there were some good horror films with black people in it. Like one that I like was Abby, about the black preacher's wife that was possessed by a demon. Another one was what the heck was it? That I like from I'm trying to think from ones from the 70s. The other one was called Sugar Hill, about the sister that wanted to get revenge, so she raised these zombies from the grave to get revenge for her lover that was killed by this mob. So, we can do more things like that, or like I said, with having period pieces like this new show, Lovecraft Country, where it takes place during Jim Crow, we can have more interesting stories. Now, I don't mind that, but I would also like to see some stuff in modern times. Like I'm eager to see what they Jordan Peele's new version of Candyman, to see like what that looks like, having like a horror more in a modern setting. Like I think there's more room for things like that, kind of like Attack the Block, where you have like a sci-fi adventure taking place in the projects. Things like that. We need to see more things like that. Like I would love to see, and if you know of a story like this, let me know. I would love to see a story kind of like Harry Potter. It doesn't have to be about wizards or anything, but it'd be nice to see some kids from around the way or some kids on the block actually go on some sort of fantasy adventure or get accepted to some sort of, fantasy or sci-fi type school or something like that. Like that would be cool to see. And I think young black people would like it. Maybe I'll have to write something like that myself one day. But if you guys have seen the trailer for Lovecraft Country, let me know what you think about it, and if it's something that you're eager to see, or at least eager to check out. You don't have to be eager to see it, but it might be something you might just want to give a look at. And if you haven't seen it, I'll post a link to the trailer. You folks can check it out for yourselves. Anyway, Chris Crazy House signing out. Peace.